Okay, so today's topic is going to be genetic mutations and cell division. So in other words, we're going to talk about how DNA can change as well as how cells can divide and reproduce and replace each other. So we're going to talk about what can cause changes in DNA today and what can happen because of it. We'll also discuss how cells can replicate themselves. This is useful for repair/replacement of dead cells, growth of new cells, and creating reproductive cells. Here we go. So, normal cell replacement. The human body is incredibly complex and is made up of many different kinds of body cells called somatic cells. There are 60 trillion to 100 trillion somatic cells in your body. Some cells last a lifetime, while others last only a few days. Just for a few examples, I listed them below, but I also have that chart on the right-hand side of the screen. White blood cells only last for 2 to 5 days. Red blood cells, however, they can last for about 4 months. Brain cells, on the other hand, they last for your entire life, generally speaking, of course, assuming you don't do anything to destroy any of them early, right? Now, cells that don't last a lifetime obviously need to be replaced. You still need things like white blood cells and red blood cells, so they need to be replaced. We're going to talk about the mechanisms by which that happens today. So some of the cells that they have in this chart here, epithelial, I think, I don't know how to pronounce that, not gonna lie, it's the inner intestinal wall cells. They only last about 5 days. So the cells in the inner intestinal wall in your body, they only last like 5 days. Your retina, this one surprises me, they last only 10 days. Your skin lasts 21 to 28 days, which would explain quite a lot of things. Not like if you, let's say you had a pimple or something like that, it would usually take that long for it to fully disappear, like including like a little bit of a scar and everything like that. Red blood cells, they last about 120 days, that's 4 months. Lung cells, 400 to 500 days. And neurons, which again are part of your central nervous system, they carry signals all throughout your body. They last over 60 years, right? Moving on. Changes to our genetic information. Here's where it gets kind of freaky. Changes to DNA are called mutations. There are many things that can cause changes to your DNA, things like ultraviolet rays. Those come from the sun, of course. They can come from tanning beds as well. Ultraviolet rays are the reason we get a tan, and a tan is really just the changes in your cellular structure, right? X-rays also can cause changes to your DNA. Now, don't freak out there. If you go to the doctor or if you go to the dentist and they give you a quick X-ray, that's actually okay. But if you had sustained exposure, then that would, of course, be dangerous. There's like the old joke, of course. I actually said this to my physics class just not that long ago. There's an old joke that says, like, your doctor says, "Oh, don't worry, this X-ray, it's not harmful. You'll be just fine." And then meanwhile, he goes and pieces out to like a nuclear bunker where he's going to be like nice and safe while he like takes your X-ray. Well, they do that on purpose because they take several X-rays every single day. That's part of their job, right? So if you were working as a doctor or a dentist and you're taking X-rays every single day and you were staying in the room while the X-rays are being blasted at the patient, you would have a lot of X-ray radiation, and that will cause changes to your DNA, and that's not a good thing. We'll talk about some of the consequences of that in just a moment, but you would not want that happening. So that's why it's okay to get one every now and then, just not all the time. Anyway, gamma rays, I'll stop, blabbering on about that. But anyway, gamma rays, those can come from nuclear radiation. They're even more serious. So if you think of something like the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, which happened in Ukraine in the 1980s, when that nuclear reactor melted down, there was a lot of gamma rays that were emitted from the site. So a lot of people like firefighters and other first responders that ended up going to the Chernobyl nuclear plant after it melted down, they were blasted with these gamma rays caused by the nuclear radiation, right? And gamma rays can change your DNA. So a lot of people got something called acute radiation sickness, which again is caused by a lot of immediate changes to your DNA structure. But several other people ended up forming things like cancer several years down the line. And again, that is because of changes to their DNA. Lastly, of course, all of these were electromagnetic radiations. They're all kinds of form of light. But chemicals, of course, can also cause changes to your DNA. So certain chemicals will actually change your genetic structure. So that's why a lot of things that are toxic are toxic for a reason, right? You can't be around them or you can't consume them because they can change your genetic structure. Now, so these changes result in changes to the structure of DNA, the individual base pairs. Remember those are the little rungs on a ladder? They could get messed up, and thus your genetic code would change with it. Every single person, every single living thing has a unique code, and if that unique code is messed with by something like UV rays or ultraviolet, or X-rays or gamma rays or chemicals, then that's going to have serious implications, potentially, right? Anyway, moving on. So mutations. Mutations in individual cells, like your skin cells, for instance, can cause cancer. One mutated cell continues to reproduce and divide, and when this mutated cell keeps doing that and it's not functioning the way it should be, this forms what we call a tumor. Now, the tumor itself could also continue to spread, and that, of course, is when cancer becomes a very serious problem. If a mutation happens in a sex cell, then those changes could actually be passed on from a parent to a child, right? So in other words, if there was some sort of genetic mutation that happened there, that could end up being passed on. Now, mutations are not always negative. I know I talk about them so far as if they're a negative thing, and yes, they often are, but sometimes they are actually beneficial, and other times they're just totally harmless. They don't hurt anyone at all, right? Now, it's theorized that humans, or humanity's excellent color vision, so the fact that we can see a whole range of colors quite well, compared to other animals at least, is the result of mutations in the very distant past. So again, this is just a theory that's coming around right now that's saying, well, when you compare by analyzing the eye structure of humans compared to the eye structure of many other animals, humans actually do fare quite well when it comes to color vision. Now, in terms of visual acuity, so in other words, seeing things from a distance, we're not extraordinary by any means. We're obviously beaten by things like eagles and hawks, but for our color vision, that is actually quite exceptional. Now, good color vision makes it easier to spot things like ripe fruit or colorful animals, which would be used as prey. This is believed to have given humans an advantage, so that those who had this mutation, the really good, strong color vision, were more likely to live. And again, this is going back to way earlier in this unit when we were talking about natural selection, and that's where nature chooses what traits get passed on based on their likelihood to contribute to that thing's survival. So again, humans' color vision was probably one of the ways that humans were able to survive, at least better than humans that didn't have extraordinary color vision. Nowadays, that kind of seems strange, because nowadays, you don't need to like spot ripe fruit or colorful animals. You just go to the grocery store and you buy that stuff. Buy colorful animals at the grocery store. We get food from the grocery store is what I'm trying to say here. But again, yeah, so that would be basically a thing that is really relevant now. So people who are colorblind now, they're not going to have a serious trouble adapting to society today. But hundreds of thousands of years ago, or even over 1 million years ago, yeah, potentially that would have been a thing. Now, cell division. There's two types of cell division that we have to talk about before. Both of these are based around something we learned about before the Easter break called binary fission. The first type of cell division we need to understand is mitosis. Mitosis. So mitosis occurs in the body cells for growth and repair. This process uses binary fission, which again is where a cell splits into two and makes copies of its DNA, to produce more cells. In order for the cells to be identical, they must have the exact same DNA. So the DNA must therefore be duplicated before the cell divides. This picture here, I ripped it right out of your textbook. It's a decent picture showing this process. Let's suppose you had a cell. Here were the chromosomes, right? What happens is they duplicate the chromosomes. So notice this dark blue one became like a double one, and this light blue one became like a double one. Then they split them up, and the cell divides with an equal amount of chromosomes from before. So therefore, an equal amount of DNA. That is called mitosis. Mitosis is used for growth and repair. We're going to learn about another one in just a second. It's got a very similar name. I had the dumbest way ever of remembering mitosis. Again, think of mitosis, again, being for growth and repair. So you're like, oh, ow, my toe just fell off. Look, my toe, sis, right? I need to regrow it. My toe, sis. I don't know. That worked for me when I was in like grade 9. Don't ask me why. I honestly look back at this and go like, what on earth was I talking about here? But whatever helps you remember it. Mitosis is for growth and repair. I can already see some of you guys like rolling your eyes or shaking your head. Anyway, cell division, meiosis is the other one. Meiosis. I didn't have a clever way of remembering this one. I just have to remember mitosis as being like regrowing your toes. So I want you to recall that in sexual reproduction, two gametes join together to form a zygote. Now, half of your chromosomes come from your mother and the other half come from your father. So think about it this way. If gametes each had 46 chromosomes, just like the rest of your cells in your body did, wouldn't that mean that a zygote would have 92 chromosomes? So just 46 times 2? Well, clearly that shouldn't be the case, because if a zygote had 92 chromosomes, then that child that would grow from the zygote would also have 92 chromosomes. And then if they had kids, there'd be even more chromosomes, and the chromosomes would just double and double every single generation, and then you'd have this huge problem where you eventually just have someone that's just a massive blob of chromosomes. It doesn't make any sense, right? So meiosis needs to occur. Meiosis is a bit of a different process. Meiosis is the type of cell division that produces the gametes, right? And gametes shouldn't have this many chromosomes, because otherwise you'd be doubling your chromosomes every single generation. So gametes actually only have half the DNA of a normal cell. So gametes will only have 23 chromosomes rather than 46, and they won't be pairs, right? Now, meiosis involves 2 cell divisions in order to make this to happen. And you don't need to know the process super thoroughly. Here's a picture, again, I took it right out of your textbook just because it was a really good one. But meiosis works basically by duplicating the DNA, and then the DNA actually has to kind of mix and match itself, right? So a little bit of characteristics from both of the chromosomes within it just needs to be shared. So notice it was a dark blue one and a light blue one. They kind of just color coded it to make it a little easier. And once they like share their DNA, it's now like a dark blue one with some light blue spots and a light blue one with some dark blue spots. Then once now that you have the shared DNA, then it undergoes a cell division, which creates, again, just 2 different cells that have 2 chromosomes within them, right? And then it actually divides again, where it splits these 2 cells into 2 different bits. Now notice what ends up happening is all of these little bits that are produced by meiosis actually have a mixture of the DNA. It's not exactly just a perfect 1/2 from one side of this and 1/2 from another side of this. They actually blend the DNA together to make sure that all of the traits get passed on. So it is a bit of a more complicated process here. But really, at the end of the day, all you need to know is that meiosis is used for producing the gametes, and also meiosis produces cells that have half the DNA of a normal cell. Okay, so gametes don't have the same amount of DNA or the same amount of chromosomes as a normal cell would. It has to split it in half. Okay, so we're pretty much done for today. There's a table at the top of page 48. I want you to complete that table. It's just more or less like a math experiment, basically. And then I have a fewer number of questions for you to answer today, just because the table is going to take up some of your time. I only want you to do questions 2, 3, 5, and 6, which are also on page 48. Now this table here, I'm actually going to go over it. So this video is actually going to notice a little bit longer. I'm going to go over the table. So what I want you to do is I want you to do this table first, then do these questions. And then once that's all done, I want you to come back to this video at this time. It's like almost 13 minutes or so into it. And I want you to watch me go through the table, okay? So I'm going to go through the table right now. Make sure you've actually done it by now. Here we go. So here's the table, the one that was on page 48. We got a cabbage, a black bear, a human, and a pear. You've already looked at this. You've already filled it in. You know what I'm talking about. Keep in mind that this first one here is talking about the number of chromosomes in a cell at the end of mitosis. Mitosis is for growth and repair. So a cabbage is going to have 18 chromosomes, which means that the number of chromosomes in a body cell is actually going to match this, because body cells are produced by mitosis. So this will also be 18. Now the next one is saying number of chromosomes in a gamete. Well, gametes have half the number of chromosomes as the rest of your body cells do. So in other words, the number of gametes is just going to be 18 divided by 2, which is 9. Now the number of chromosomes in a zygote needs to be 2 gametes put together. So a zygote is like a regular body cell in this regard, in that it's going to have 18 chromosomes. So then the number of pairs of chromosomes, well, if you have 18 chromosomes and chromosomes have to form pairs, there's actually going to be 9 pairs of chromosomes as well. Again, a cabbage would get that from one of each of its parents. And yes, cabbages have parents, right? They do reproduce through the plant form of sexual reproduction, so they will have chromosomes inherited from a father plant and a mother plant. Now, for a black bear, it didn't give us this first bit of information, but it told us the number of pairs of chromosomes. Well, hopefully you're seeing a pattern with this first one with cabbages. The number of pairs of chromosomes is going to be equal to the number of chromosomes in a gamete, right? So gametes don't have the pairs of chromosomes, but they only have the chromosomes themselves, but it will be the same as the number of pairs in a full-blown body cell, right? So we can just immediately say that that's going to be 38. Now, since this is 38 in a gamete, we can also say that the number of chromosomes in a zygote is going to be double this. Well, 38 times 2, I'm pretty sure, is 76. So there would be 76 chromosomes in a zygote, which makes sense because 76 divided by 2 is 38, which is the number of pairs of chromosomes. Okay. Now, the other pattern you probably already have seen as well is the number of chromosomes in a zygote is going to be the same as the number of chromosomes in a body cell, which is also the same as the number of chromosomes at the end of mitosis. So we can say that this is 76 and 76. Now, the next one is human, which I think is kind of a weird choice because hopefully after the lesson you could already tell me this without even seeing a number in here. The number of chromosomes in a human gamete is half of the number of chromosomes in a human body. So 46 in a human body, or 46 in a zygote, or 46 at the end of the process of mitosis, where you're regrowing or repairing body cells. The number of pairs of chromosomes, you should also remember 23 pairs of chromosomes in humans. Now, for a pair, not to be confused with a pair. Anyway, so a pair has 40 chromosomes at the end of mitosis, which means it has 40 chromosomes in each of its body cells. Now, the number of chromosomes in a gamete, a pair gamete, which again would be like pollen or whatever from a pear tree, is 20. And then therefore, the number of chromosomes in a zygote is just double that, so 40. And the number of pairs of chromosomes in a pair, the number of pair of chromosomes, the pairs of chromosomes in a pair, okay, I'm done, is 20 one way or another. There you go. So hopefully you were able to get this right again. Any questions from this, or if you had any questions from these questions before, please send me an email or post it on Classroom. Doesn't matter to me. Anyway, best of luck. Talk to you soon.